Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Finally Talk here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am your host for the next 30 minutes. I hope that you enjoyed our reunion show yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, please do go over to our YouTube channels. We have two. Let me pull up the visual. They are USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. You can see all of our programming there. So this episode of Let's Finally Talk is when you stop seeking understanding. And each of these episodes builds on the ones before, and they're all based on this book that I wrote, Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening, which you can pick up a copy of the book over on Amazon. So let's get started. What we've been talking about is, first of all, when you can't unsee what you now know. You've found something out about someone, or you realize something about yourself or someone else, and you now have to face it. You have to face it. You have to deal with it because you can't unsee it because you now know it. And so we've also talked about forgiveness is not an invitation. If someone does something wrong to you, that doesn't mean that once you forgive them, that you're inviting them back into your life. So today we're going to expand upon that with when you stop seeking understanding. And this episode is basically going to review and maybe incite an idea for you about that moment when you have the internal shift. And it's really a moment when you need to be understood on your own without you needing someone else to understand you. And many times we spend a tremendous amount of energy explaining things, justifying things, and clarifying things in the hope that the other person or persons will be in agreement with us, or that we get that external validation, that pat on the shoulder. Yeah, I understand. I'm with you. And over time, doing this, taking this effort really does erode our self-esteem and even our self-trust, that belief in ourself, instead of strengthening the connection with the other person. So through elevated listening, which again is in this book, and of course the courses that I teach, we're going to talk about how having a conversation that reframes peace as alignment rather than approval and clarity. And it doesn't require a consensus. We don't need to call up people, email people, text people, and get their approval. So we're going to focus today on how developing emotional maturity helps us to release that need to begin living from other people's approval. And it's really important. So why is it we're discussing this today? Well, if you know anything about me, I am a peace ambassador, and my goal is for you and I to have inner peace and to be part of world peace. And I know with everything going on in the world today, you might think that that's absolutely not possible, but it is possible, because in life, if we were to go back decades, centuries, there's always some kind of repetition about unrest and then peace. And someone once said to me, and I thought it was an interesting conversation that she actually was having with herself, but I was witness to it, was the fact that there is no peace without war, and there is no war without peace. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but you can think of it or not think of it. So, what is the emotional cost of us trying to be understood? Think about a situation that you've been in recently or in the past, and you and another person were not on the same page. And you kept doing what you needed to do in your own mind to get them to be on your side or to at least understand where you're coming from. And so, what do we end up doing? In order to get this understanding, sometimes we start over explaining ourselves. And by the time we're finished over explaining ourselves, we've lost a lot of respect for ourselves in the process. Because see, we walk away later and we say, at least I've done this. What was I just doing? Spending all that time explaining myself. Why do I need that validation? So there really is a difference between having a healthy communication or conversation and negotiating with ourselves. In past episodes, I've talked about setting boundaries. And this to me is where setting boundaries really does come into play. Because if we are negotiating with ourselves, our boundaries have come down now. We set boundaries for a certain reason. And I want to be clear on this. It's not because we're mean. It's not because we don't like people. It's because we're protecting our health mentally and physically. And without our health, nothing else really matters. I've shared this before, but if you were to talk to people who had a fortune, they were extremely wealthy, they were rich, and now they're in the hospital. They might have the best care that maybe the average person couldn't get. But that doesn't mean they can buy their way back to good health. They have to be in the same position that we are, just praying to someone, to God, to the universe, to an entity, or just relying on the doctors and what it is they're doing. So it doesn't matter how much we have or we don't have. We still get to say yes, and we still get to say no. No is a complete sentence. It is an answer. So when we're in a situation where we feel small, we feel invisible, and all we want is for someone to understand us. We want to be able to say, you know what, I am right because so and so understands me. It's not important that we're right, and it's not important that someone understands us. It's important that we respect ourselves, that we value ourselves, and that we realize we do not need approval from others. So I'm going to give an example. Right now, I am broadcasting from my apartment, which was flooded 2 nights ago through no fault of my own, through a frozen pipe in the unit upstairs. And last year, at this very same time, I want to say it could be to the day, my apartment was flooded because there were people living upstairs and they decided to hang their clothes on the sprinklers, is what I was told. So there's no one here. Okay, I broadcast for 6 hours yesterday. My studio is trashed. I'm actually in the kitchen right now, and there's probably 25 industrial fans, which I've had to turn off a lot of them because it pulls the power. But I don't have to be understood by anyone. I don't need anyone's approval to say, oh, well, you could have done this and you could have done that. And if you thought of this and if you thought of that, I know myself that I'm doing what's best for me. I'm taking care of myself. I'm being good to myself, and I'm setting boundaries. And that's what I'm suggesting to you. And I bring up this example because it's kind of a one-off extreme example that doesn't happen every day. Although to me, it's happened 2 years in a row. But I didn't anticipate this. And things do come up. So I could have just gotten on the phone and called however many people and just started complaining, oh, my apartment's flooded. Now I'm going to have to go live in a hotel. But I didn't do that. I just thought, let me do what I can do. Let me get ready for the reunion show. There's no heat. We had a major snowstorm yesterday. So I put on a coat and I did the show. And so you have the ability to make choices of how you show up, and no one has to understand you. But what's most important about this particular episode is that we are seeking understanding. It's one thing to say, okay, I accept the fact that no one has to understand me. But then we have to change our own behavior so we're not seeking external validation. And that's where sometimes we go off track. Now, it's okay to go off track because guess what? We can get right back on track. And so that's what it would encourage for you. So When we recognize that giving an explanation is not important, when we realize it's actually a waste of our own time, we can use that time for our own benefit. We can actually watch what are the changes that are coming up for us while we're going through this process. And when we have this type of clarity, then we know that our own truth is non-negotiable. We can allow people to misunderstand us, as Mel Robbins says, let them, and we don't have to correct them. That's one point that I think is really something we need to look at a little bit further. I've had people say to me, but I want him to understand. I want her to understand. Why? Why are you putting yourself out there in that position? Because you have a choice, and the choice is you can choose peace over persuasion. So think about it. Think of all the energy that we put into getting someone else to see our point of view. Now, I'm not saying not to be interested in other people's point of view, because I definitely am. I'm very curious. But I don't have to understand their point of view. I can just know that they have a point of view, and I can be curious and I can be respectful. And so that's something that I'd like everyone to think about with what's going on in the world today. Before we speak, before we text, before we WhatsApp, before we write, think about these 3 questions. Is it kind? Is it necessary? And is it true? Now, with the last one, the truth part, this is where people start to manipulate the truth for their own benefit. We can look at any number of the situations that have gone on in the world, and I personally was not present at any of them. Were you? Were you actually there? So we're not there. We interpret what it is that we see from the media. Now, we here at USA Global TV and Radio, we are part of the media. But the difference is that before I tell you something, I have already researched it. I'm not just Googling it. I learned when I was getting my doctorate that we have to look at peer-reviewed articles. Not 1, not 2, but 3. 3 different articles that we can look at, and we call it triangulating the data, to see what's true and what's not true. So given that I am not in your shoes and I have not walked the journey that you have walked or that you are walking, and the same for me, we cannot expect one another to understand what people are going through. We can be compassionate, we can be empathetic, but if we say, I truly understand, how can we? Because we haven't been in that situation. So by making a commitment to not seek external validation, to not get on the bandwagon, we are actually choosing peace. I've mentioned before, I'm a peace ambassador. I've had 3 different rounds of training about peace ambassadorship, what it means, and I've taken a vow to be peaceful. And that's in terms of what I share with you here on the television network, what I put out on social media, and how I live my life personally. Many times we think we are doing the right thing by joining the bandwagon of everyone else because we think we understand. But the truth is, we're actually part of the problem. The problem is perpetuating things. So instead of what I call jumping into the fire, why not take a stand and stand for peace? Peace for yourself and peace for others. And what that means is no one knows you better than you know you. No one knows what's going on inside here better than you. And when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, if there was no one else around and you had to be brutally honest with yourself, would you like what you see? If you didn't have a group of friends or cohort or peers that you wanted to get along with, fit in with, would you change your mindset of how you come across? It's a choice. And so there's no judgment, there's no shame, there's no blame. It's just getting you to think maybe in a different way. And so when we start to think about the fact that I stand for peace? Do you stand for peace? Are you putting things on social media? I haven't looked now, but are you putting things on this show right now that are not necessary, that are not kind, and that are not true? And if you are, that's okay. But that's what you're putting out into the world. If you're putting out negativity, when people see your handle, they see your name, they say so-and-so stands for negativity. So I ask you, do you need external validation to feel good about yourself? And if the answer is yes, are you open to considering the fact that maybe there's some work that you can begin to do so that you find peace within yourself? Now, I don't watch mainstream television because a lot of it is skewed. I don't watch the late night shows because a lot of that is skewed. I watch programming and I follow people who want to put peace out into the world. I personally know of people who are living in third world countries where they are concerned that leaving their home, whatever that might be, that they could be killed. Not because of what's going on in an administration or lack thereof, but because that's the way of the world where they live. There are no boundaries. There is no structure. So if that's not your situation, if you don't live in a world where you are afraid of being kidnapped every day, then look at what your situation really is. Are you part of the problem? Are you spreading stories that are not true? That in your mind, you actually believe that this is the case? I don't know. I can't speak for you. I will look at the comments later and I will be able to see who's coming from a place of positivity and who's coming from a place of negativity. So there's no judgment on that. I've written this book called Holy But Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment. And in this book, I list 100 different statements that people make all the time that are filled with judgment because we think we know. But the only thing we really can know is what is going on in our own lives. That's what we know. And is your life so clean and so perfect, or are you throwing rocks? If we were to come and go into your home and look at your life and your behavior, are you comfortable with it? You feel good with it? And of course, we're not going to do that. But the point is, to be at peace, we have to be honest with who we are. It's easy to judge other people. People do it all the time. So right now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share some statements that are filled with judgment. Now, before you start putting your messages, I'd like you to think about it because that's another thing. Are you someone who hears something and you immediately have a jerk reaction? That to me, based on my experience, you haven't even thought about it. You just reacted. And that's probably what you're doing in your life. You react to things instead of processing them. When we process them, we can come from a place of emotional intelligence. Okay, so let me read some of them. She's depressed. She just needs to cheer up. Okay, what do we think of that statement? Filled with judgment. She just needs to cheer up. How do we know what she needs to do? We have no idea. But yet we make that statement because we're holier than thou. And by the way, that's another thing. When people start quoting Bible scriptures, filled with judgment. Okay. No wonder he left her. If only she kept her mouth shut and lost weight. Some of you might think that's funny. But what if it was you? What if it was your daughter? What if it was your mother? What if it was your wife? It's not funny. It's judgmental. I heard he has prostate cancer. It's no wonder she's looking around for someone else. These are actual statements that people have made. Filled with judgment. So why do I bring them up? To incite you? No, to bring awareness, because you have a choice. I have a choice right now. Whatever way you've been living your life, you can say, as of today, the 26th of January, I am choosing a different path. And my path is a peaceful one. And when you choose peace, which is not easy, because if you are in a circle of people who are not peaceful, they will not be happy about it. But I guarantee you, based on my experience, and I've been through a lot, the level of stress that you have in your life, way down. The amount of drama, way down. The positive things that come into your life, the opportunities that come into your life, the doors that open, may never have been open for you before and may never be open again. So instead of seeking external validation, instead of getting on the bandwagon of negativity and drama, I'm asking you to consider stepping aside. Let the other people be filled with drama. As Mel Robbins says, let them. And let you choose peace. And to me, that is my legacy. When I'm no longer here, people are watching these videos, I hope that people will be able to choose peace, because every one of us is only here for a certain amount of time. That doesn't mean we have to put blinders on. That doesn't mean we can't express ourselves. Absolutely not. But we can express ourselves in a way that is respectful, in a way that will hold up for the test of time, instead of being debated because we came from a place of fear. Fear starts to creep in. And once it starts to creep in, all of a sudden, our perspective about so many things changes. We're constantly looking around. We're looking over our shoulder. We're questioning everything. We start to become paranoid even, as opposed to saying, you know what, I choose love. I choose compassion, I choose kindness, and I choose empathy. So I want to thank you for listening. If you have not seen my other shows on Let's Finally Talk, I'm going to put up the playlist. It's over on our YouTube channel. We actually have two, if you're not aware. We probably have over 60 TV shows, and I have maybe 5 of them. I am the founder of this network, and yesterday we celebrated our 4-year anniversary, so I'm very grateful for that. But you can go over to usaglobaltv.com or drjacalyn.com if you want to get in touch with me. And if you want to watch the previous episodes, because they all build on each other, you can go over to this playlist, which is youtube.com/playlist, and then you can see the rest of the information there. You can actually just click on the link and it will take you there. So thank you so much for being here today. I will be coming back with my next episode tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay tuned for Talking Heads, which is our next show. And I'll be talking about the red ocean and the blue ocean and what it means to you. So thank you again. And we're over to our sponsors.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.